Jesse Williams is eager to challenge himself. And that's exactly what the Grey's Anatomy actor is doing. I mean, Jesse Williams is one of those actors that you don't know what's coming next. And I frankly did not see his new Prime Video series, Hotel Costiera, coming. I mean, it is unlike anything I think we've ever seen Jesse Williams do before. Now, of course, we know Jesse from his nearly 10 years on Grey's Anatomy. Also, he did Broadway with the show Take Me Out. And now he's done other things too. I mean, he's been in the comedy space, but not like fully, especially not in the action comedy space. And that's exactly what Hotel Costiera is. It is both, of course, a thrilling show, but there's also comedy involved in it. And one of the things that Jesse told me today, because he is my guest on today's episode of the Parting Shot podcast, is that he wanted to do this because he wanted the challenge. He wanted to expand himself creatively. And also, this is one of the first shows that he was involved in from the ground up. I mean, he's a producer on this show, so he's having two roles here. He's the star of the show, but he's also a producer. In the series, he plays a man who was both American and Italian, and he is a former Marine. He retires from the Marines, and he moves back to Italy to help run this hotel that he gets a job at. And then over the process, the owner of the hotel's daughter goes missing, and it's up to Jesse to find the daughter. Great situation for someone like Jesse, because it's really fun to see him in an action show. Let me just tell you that right now. But it's also just a gorgeous place to shoot a television show, which I started my conversation with Jesse by basically asking him how hard of a job he actually had shooting in Italy. And his response was pretty funny. But we talked a lot about his career and the direction of his career and what he's doing in his career. I was so struck by how poignant and eloquent Jesse is about the realities of being an actor right now, but also how he follows something like Grey's Anatomy. I mean, so often, they just say, oh, I wanted to do different things. No, Jesse gets real and says that Grey's could have definitely pigeonholed him, and he actively pushed against that. And his response to that question was something that you don't hear a lot from actors doing press for a show. So I really think you're going to enjoy my chat with Jesse Williams today. So sit back and grab a snack, because I will be right back with Jesse Williams. It is lovely to meet you.
You too.
I'm a big fan of yours. The show is fantastic. I watching it, I have to say, I thought to myself, wow, Jesse has such a hard job filming in this beautiful location. I mean, the gig just gets harder and harder, doesn't it, Jesse?
That's fair. That's fair. It was could have, of all the places in the world, no complaints.
Yeah, what was it like? I mean, I understand you're a very professional actor, so I'm sure you kept it professional, but how do you be in this beautiful location and not just want to say, oh, I'm going to be an hour late today?
Yeah. I think that's a fair question. I think because I'm a producer, like a very active producer, I was constantly had a list of deliverables. We're casting somebody with art direction. We got to change wardrobe. This location we lost. It's raining. So I was so involved in other things that I had somebody to hold me accountable. Like I had things that I had to check in with. I couldn't just disappear to Capri for, half a day, which was tempting, which is why I say it. So it was that. It was, the food, the wine, it was a trip. I tried to stay relatively disciplined, but I ate a lot of pasta and bread, and I lost 13 pounds on this show.
How?
Because their food is real food. Because it's not American poison. It's not enriched crap. It's crazy. It's like flour and water.
Wow. Their food is basically the Ozempic, the natural Ozempic, I guess.
Yeah. Apparently, I lost weight.
Wow. I was going to say that too, because if you're you're over there and you want to eat the good food, but you're also the star of this show and you have to kind of look hot fighting these scenes and stuff. So how do you that?
I was exhausted. It was me versus my own eye bags. That was really the battle, less than the gut this trip,
Yes.
But that was my worry. And everybody, the culture there, it's right. Family and hospitality and eat. You look skinny, eat. Everybody wants to feed you. So that I thought that was going to be more of a problem, but it was just maintaining energy, trying to get decent sleep, consistent sleep.
Yeah.
But I was constantly pinching myself, looking out at this vista, at this coast, at this um, um, landscape. It was spectacular.
I mean, I can tell you, I've been to Italy many times, many all places over there, and I can tell you, even if you're not skinny, they still want to feed you. Trust me,
Yeah,
they still want to put all the
that's
food in your
true.
mouth. I've experienced that. So wait, so like producing this show, like what is it? What what is it like for you to approach? Well, actually, let me rephrase that. To be at this point in your career where you can produce a show at this level and have, you've worked hard to have the name value to be able to sort of put your name attached to a project in a different
Yeah.
capacity. So like what is that like for you? What does that mean for you right now?
Well, the thing is, so I think about the work. There's the work, and then we're about to see the result. The work I'll speak to first, which I love it. I love to work. I love to be on set. I love to compare ideas. I love to be wrong. I love to debate and figure something out and agree and disagree. And I love the collaboration that exists in our business. It's the same way reason I love team sports or something. I love to have a plan, work it. We all have to step up. And it's so much more rewarding when it's a collective, little collective successes. So the process is super enjoyable. It is certainly validating. It certainly feels good to be able to have anything that you're doing to feel like you have a little bit of juice. You can you'll get another 5 minutes to for people to listen, to hear you out, or to have faith,
Mm-hmm.
or to bet on you in the same way you're trying to bet on yourself. I've bet on myself a ton and it failed.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it, and this is just being able to have another swing. That's all you can ever ask for is the patience and allowance of others to give you a chance and then a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's certainly been very rewarding in that respect to have partners, partnership with Adam Bernstein, our showrunner, and certainly Lux Vide, who originated the idea, and Amazon, both in Italy and internationally, get down with our idea and bet on us.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Jen Psaki, the head of Amazon at the time, came out and came to set like in the first week and took her to dinner. And like that felt awesome. Like people are really paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And because we need everybody in order to find success. Now, when the show does amazing, which I know it will, that will be another form of validation because it gives us a chance to look out off the bow of the ship and decide where do we want to chart our course next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Season, other things. Work begets work, success begets opportunities for more success. So I'm in
Yeah.
the beginning of that journey. I very much feel like I'm just starting my career. I've said this before. As
Mm-hmm.
soon as I decided to start doing this business, the truth is I got on a big show. So
Mm-hmm.
I've only kind of acted on one show for a decade, and then Broadway, and then this is my
Mm-hmm.
try things out phase
Yeah.
and get scared and try things that are weird and things that make me feel uncomfortable and things that are just different for the sake of being different. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I am at this stage, I think.
I like the stage that you're at because it's a lot of fun. The show's a lot of fun. I mean, it's like not only is it like exciting to watch, it's also very aesthetically pleasing to watch, and
Yeah.
it's juicy and it's hot and it's just a fun show. So like what was it about this story that appealed to you?
Yeah, I think it was twofold, kind of like interpersonal for the character and then more expansive. One, it was what attracted me to it was a guy going through something between a quarter and midlife crisis, a guy who had invested so much of himself into something, and then without it, what is he? What
Mhm,
are we without the trappings of the team that we're on?
mhm,
He's out of the military, spent his whole life there, and this is a guy who's kind of something I can relate to. He's kind of part one thing. This guy grew up in Italy or started his life in Italy, but then moved to America. He's half Italian. He's half Black American. He's kind of both things and neither thing and half a
mhm,
thing, but a complete thing times two. And so, what is his identity? What is his level of um, does he have alignment anywhere in his life? And he decides to go home back to where he was born to lick his wounds and figure out kind of recalibrate for a
mhm,
second. And I can relate to a lot of elements of that story, the machinations of that being. So the inner work of a character that seemed interesting, kind of a what is it to be a man, both in the constraints of like the American identity, but also globally. And then
Mhm.
speaking of that, what I really loved was an idea of making something that is global. That that
Mm.
we are not just trapped American mentality of just America is not the world.
Mhm.
America is not the be all end all. What is it like to just be around other cultures and other cultural forms of expression and other languages and dialects and nuances, and realize how there's far more similarities than there are differences, and just a little more expansive view, I think, at this time in my life and this
Yeah.
time in our world, what's happening in current events. I think it's just nice to just open the windows in the house a little bit, let some air in.
Yeah.
So there was both kind of um, there was the utility of it for me as a person and a performer, and then there's also a bit of a, I think, blue sky optimism that I think we could all benefit from.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the duality of the character, the Italian and the American aspect of the character, I found that really interesting, mainly because with a show like this and with the place that you're in your career, yes, you're an actor first and you're a fantastic actor, but also you're a star. And so there is this element of the star's narrative, the actor's narrative in the character. And you see the duality of both how you've navigated your career and the discussions you've had and the roles that you've had and what you've brought to those roles in this character as well. And you can kind of that I wanted to know like about how much of the character's duality assisted or even amplified his ability to tell a deeper story because of his duality. Like it really was a central part of the character from what I watched.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that that's a pretty astute observation. It certainly informed, and what I'm stewing on is how much I knew, what I knew, and when I knew it in the
Mm,
process, because there were a lot of discoveries in the flow of rehearsal or shooting or in a moment. I think that all actors can relate to. Um, Discovering a deeper meaning in a scene or a moment on the way home.
yeah.
As a New Yorker,
Yeah.
I say like my best audition is on the train home after
Yeah.
the audition. And so sometimes we're working on some things and I realize I've accessed something from a real experience or from a real kind of fish out of water moment. And also that duality that I've experienced in my life, it allows for, makes you a bit of the invisible man, like what
Mhm.
Ralph Ellison said. You have access to, you're a fly on the wall in spaces that otherwise maybe some of your contemporaries don't get access to.
Yeah.
So I get to be authentic. I am authentically here. This guy is authentically Scugnizzo from Napoli, but he is also very much American, and he's not. Both of those are true. As somebody who's has for example, a white mother and a black father, I don't really say I'm half anything. I'm just both of those things. It's a
Mhm.
linguistic term, but you that has to have found itself um, uh, uh, stewing in something that the character Daniel DeLuca is dealing with. It's like returning home and kind of refinding his gear, refinding
Mhm.
his footing. Um, and also I would say one of the things about the project that suits that is where it kind of genre bending is it's funny,
Mhm. Yeah.
but there's no stakes, right?
Mhm.
Where finding humor and lightness, even while even when dealing with a kidnapped girl or something, right? You're
Yeah.
juggling these. We're kind of both action and comedy and accessible, but also blue sky, dreamy, but all these
Mhm.
things at once. That's what life is. You have a hilarious moment with your coworker, and then you get bad news, and then you
Yeah.
go to lunch, and then that really is the spontaneous kind of jagged, jerky experience of being an adult in the world. So I
Mhm.
think that we're hoping to have that reflected too.
Well, that was my next question about the comedy of it all because, you know, I, it's what's so funny about it is I think oftentimes while we have seen you be funny in different projects and we've seen humor in different areas of you, I wouldn't necessarily say that you're known for comedy. And
Very cool.
what is great about this, I think, is it is funny. It adds all of those elements. It's very much I liken it to when I was watching it, I was like, I feel like this could have been a George Clooney show 20, 30 years ago. Like it could have been
Uh-huh.
something George Clooney would have done. And you
Yeah.
bring that energy, that sort of balance between the drama and the suspense and the comedy. So, like, what was it about the comedy that stood out to you that you particularly liked?
I appreciate that because that's something that's important to me. At the heart of it, I love comedy. I
Mhm.
fancy myself relatively funny. Certainly, everybody around me. The most common thing I get two things that I from people that know me well or that are beginning to know me well. Um, and they're actually on two sides of a coin. A lot of times it's, how do you not do more comedy? You're really funny. You should be doing comedy. And nobody, I think, because I've been an activist. I've been involved in so many social justice movements, and I'm talking seriously about serious things. And I think I also have a bit of a resting dick face. I've got like a resting, a
Yeah.
resting like unhappy face. And I'm
Yeah.
not, but
Yeah.
it just it's that way.
Yeah.
So the comedy is a surprise to folks. The other comment I get often is like, "You should play a villain. You really should play a villain." I don't
Mm.
know how to feel about that, but I want to play all those things.
Yeah.
But the comedy is absolutely something that whets my beak. I really,
Mhm.
I'm drawn to it. I think that I was, um, to be honest, after I left Gray's and I went to Broadway, I really wanted to do comedy, and I was curious, uh, maybe even worried that there wouldn't be space for me. People wouldn't expect that from me because of my
Yeah.
reputation. But I have been pleasantly surprised. I went right into Only Murders in the Building, which
Yeah.
was, a laugh riot, that experience. So comedy is really what I want to be. One of the many things, but a very important thing to me. It is really, it is who I am when I am my realist self.
Yeah.
So it's important to me, and I tried to uh, pepper that in as much as possible. Our writing team did a fantastic job, and also dealing with a different sensibility of it's a very European show in many respects.
Mhm.
Our British stars are really funny.
Mhm.
Sam Haygarth and Jordan Alexander, um, um, and then the Italian sensibility, Antonio Girardi. We're coming
Yeah.
at it from all different angles,
Yeah.
which has been really funny. So I appreciate that some of that came through because it's important to me.
Well, you also have, just to add on to that, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it, that there is, I mean, I've joked with actors before, especially like leading man type actors, who have the conventional look, who have the look of sort of what you would expect a leading man to be, which is usually like attractive, tall, having resting dick face. And I think actually helps being a leading man. And then when they do the plot twist of it's actually funny, when they actually can be funny,
Mm,
like for example, having Brad Pitt be funny in something. He is a funny person. He has a funny
yeah,
persona, but yet looking at him, you wouldn't expect it because you just want to see him take his shirt off. So like
yeah.
what is it I think about, or what do you think it is about the appeal of sort of that leading man having that twist of being funny? Because in this show, it really is there. I'm thinking of the moment where someone doesn't know that you can speak Italian and then you speak Italian. I mean, there are
Yeah.
moments where you have this debonair man and then all of a sudden he does something funny like a plot twist, and it really just seals the deal of the scene.
I think it's nice to have something that is pillarized, that is put on a pedestal, brought down to earth. So I
Mm,
think that that if you use me or Brad as an example, no matter how you feel, whether that guy's handsome or not, that other people are putting the energy that way.
exactly. Yeah.
He must inherently be aware of that, and therefore to some degree aloof.
Mm,
He must think he's a little bit better than us. But then when he sits down and cracks a beer and talks about the
yeah.
game, oh, he's one of us. It's like one of the, it's
Yeah.
that people like to feel both have to have something to aspire towards, but also that's accessible and doesn't foster insecurity. Like, oh, we're just a regular
Mhm.
guy. So I think regular guyness aside, dry kind of, you say
Mhm.
Clooney, like that dry
Yeah.
comedy, that those mutterings, that's my wheelhouse,
Yeah.
and I think that being reared, we're all always affected by and borrowing from and inspired by things around us. And I think of,
Mhm.
early Ricky Gervais, and
Yes.
and I grew up on a lot of Monty Python, a lot of British comedy, a lot of quick, fast, cerebral,
Mhm.
understated barbs, and then Martin Short and other American comics. So yeah, I think that doesn't always come in this package.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we like a unique package.
Mhm.
Those two things don't necessarily go to those two colors don't necessarily work, but he makes them work.
Yeah.
So I think there is a subconscious kind of attraction to something like that when done well, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to just put my toe in a little bit.
I mean, you did it well. It's a
Thank you.
fantastic show. I really did enjoy it. I can't spend any time with you, and this is my last question, but Grey's Anatomy, the impact, like you said, it was the start of your career, and it was massive, and you were on it for almost, I guess, 15 years, off and on, all the things, from 2009 to 2024, I guess, in various ways, and the impact of that on you, both in terms of your profile and the heightened profile it gave you, but also the scrutiny that it comes with coming from a show like that, and the things that followed from that. How how do you feel? And I think this show right now is a great sort of, like you said, a reintroduction of you in a different
Yeah.
way. How has it been difficult, or did you ever worry that perhaps that would sort of pigeonhole you into a certain type of performance or certain type of role that you'd be pursuing afterwards because you were that person on Grey's Anatomy? And how are you breaking that mold? I think you're doing it very well.
I absolutely worried about it. I've seen it happen to other iconic members of iconic shows, and it's just part of the education process. You see things happen, and you um, want to protect against it. So while being wildly appreciative of the opportunity that gave and continues to give me, I was very aware of it. And now, luckily for me, I always had such a myriad of interests
Mhm,
that I didn't have to invent any to try to shake off the yoke of something. I
mhm,
sincerely was interested in all these other things that I have been doing, was doing before I became, I didn't start acting until I was almost 30 years old. I was living
mhm.
a real life, and a different life, I should say. They're all real. But I was aware of it. And I think that, I really going right into making no money, killing myself on Broadway for almost a year, doing 8 shows a week is very different, and
Yeah.
playing a very different character in a very different tone. And then, so picking projects, I think I don't know if it's the cart or the horse. I don't know if it's the carrot or the horse, but
Mhm,
I always want to do something different. I always want to be challenged. I always want to be creative. So that's doing that film, doing Lillian Hall with Kathy Bates and Jessica Lange, and playing a
mhm,
director. And then, okay, now let's create an original, very rare, an original property to be done. I think I'm probably, I don't know, only the third person in Amazon Prime history a black actor and to produce his
mm,
own show. And that's original. It's not based on
mhm,
IP or something else. Like, let's really try to forge something new in a space. It's got no brand recognition. We're not riding on the coattails of anything.
mhm.
Um, that's new. That's a challenge. There's 90 ways that could fail.
Yeah.
So that's the raising the stakes, trying something different. Let's do it in a different language. I'm terrible with languages, by the way. Some people are like can really just do it. It was labor for
I
me.
wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to tell. I don't know Italian, so you
Yeah,
did great.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just tell you that it was good. But so yes, but to answer your question, I absolutely worried about it. I was actually, conscious of it, but I didn't ever worry for long because I sincerely have all these other interests and I get what I want. I'm gonna do other things.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky in that regard, but I'd be lying to say that no, I wasn't worried about that.
Yeah. Well, you're doing great because the show's great.
I really
So,
appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank
and it
you
was
very much.
fantastic chatting with you. Thank you for taking the
Yeah, you
time.
too. I hope we get to do it again sometime soon. Thank you.
Definitely. If Jesse had a hard time shooting the show in Italy, he didn't. Hard time shooting the show in Italy. I didn't have a hard time chatting with Jesse Williams today because not only is he a fantastic person to talk with and he's just chill and interesting and real. I mean, just look at him. He's also kind of great to talk to. I just had to say it. You have to say it. I mean, Jesse Williams is a star, and there's a reason why he's a star because he's talented. But also, look at him. Go watch Hotel Costiera. It is fantastic. Jesse is fantastic. I really think you're going to enjoy it. And thank you so much for listening or watching to today's episode of the Parting Shot podcast. I'm H. Alan Scott on everything. Please go to newsweek.com for more news and podcasts and video. And of course, leave a little rating and review or like this or comment wherever you are consuming this episode of the Parting Shot podcast. And in the meantime, watch something fun today and have a good one.